Never make a deal with anyone so easily, especially for people you don't really know. A pair of young, bright, and unlucky siblings are having a happy chatting time with a mysterious bartender. Hearing their stories, the mysterious lady grants them wealth and power, and their dreams come true in the future until the payment deadline arrives. Without further ado, let's dive into the thrilling recap of the Netflix show, The Fall of the House of Usher. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Roderick is a CEO of a powerful, successful, but despicable pharmaceutical company, Fortunato Pharmaceuticals, together with his sister, Madeline, who is the calm and intelligent COO. After losing all his bloodlines, all 6 children, and the only granddaughter in 2 weeks, he invites August, an assistant U.S. attorney, to his childhood home for his crime confession. Roderick reveals that he has Caddiceal disease and he has hallucination of dead people he knew. He tells Charles the story from the very beginning. In 1953, Roderick and Madeline's mother, Eliza, worked as the secretary to the CEO of Fortunato Pharmaceuticals, William Longfellow, who was the kid's biological father too. A few years later, Eliza fell sick and passed away, so Roderick and Madeline buried her in the backyard. In the night, Eliza rose from the grave, went to William's home, and killed him before dying herself. The conversation then shifts to the lawsuit accusing Fortunato Pharmaceuticals of fraudulently selling their drug, Ligadone. In the courtroom, an informant within the Usher family, and according to August, is eager to reveal the family's crimes. This revelation makes the whole Usher family astonished, including their lawyer, Pim. Later, Roderick invites his children and their spouses for dinner. In the house, everyone is present, including Juno, Roderick's current wife, Frederick and his wife, Morella, Victorine and her girlfriend, Allie, Tamerlane, Perry, Napoleon, also known as Leo, and Camille. At the dinner, Roderick offers $50 million to anyone who finds the mole. No one would have ever thought that it's gonna be their last family dinner together. The first bloodline in the family who dies is Perry. He is the youngest and has aspirations of impressing his father by opening hedonistic nightclubs, but doesn't have Roderick's stamp of approval. Hence, Perry decides to make his own nightclub without relying on his father. During a meeting with Frederick, he finds out some old Fortunato factories are now abandoned. Perry decides to set up a masquerade-themed orgy in one of the vacant buildings. When he delivers some paperwork to his brother, he invites Frederick's wife, Morella, to his orgy. At the orgy, Perry spots a stranger woman in red who isn't in his invitation list. He follows her to her room, and the woman turns out to be Verna. She tells him that what he's doing will have dire consequences and then leaves. To continue the party, Perry turns on the sprinkler system to mimic rain, which is the highlight of the orgy. But to everyone's horror, it starts pouring acid and corrosive chemical waste. Later, Verna comes back and covers Perry's face with her skull mask. Everyone are burnt to death in the acid rain except Morella, who is severely burnt and is taken to the nearby hospital. The second victim is Camille. She is the smart, sharp-tongued public relations head of the family company. She is investigating who in her family is the mole betraying the family. She has 2 assistants, Tina and Toby. They reported to Camille that Victorine, who is Camille's sister, conducts illegal experiments on chimpanzees to create a cardiac gadget for the company, but fails every time as she is actually discarding and replacing chimps. One night, Camille attempts to have intimate activity with her 2 assistants as usual, but they refuse and she fires them. To continue the investigation, Camille sneaks into Victorine's laboratory alone. However, she runs into Verna, who seems working as a security guard there. When Camille enters the lab, Verna follows her and shows chimpanzee-like behavior, mauling Camille. The following morning, Camille is found dead and a chimpanzee smirking over her body. The third one is Leo. He's a remarkable video game publisher. He has been taking excessive drugs to deal with the grief over the death in his family. One morning, he discovers that he killed his partner's cat with a drug-fueled stupor. As such, he adopts a similar cat from Verna to deceive his partner. At home, the new cat begins placing dead animals everywhere. He grows more and more enraged at the cat, so he invites Verna home to take back the cat. The cat attacks him again and gets inside the wall. He begins smashing the apartment walls. But when his partner returns home, it is revealed that Leo is hallucinating. Leo sees the cat on the balcony and sprints over to get it, causing him to fall off and die. The next one is Victorine. She is a gifted surgeon. She met Verna, who seems suffering from cardiac disease, at her girlfriend and co-worker, Allie's clinic, and believes she is a great candidate to be a first human guinea pig for the heart mesh gadget. She assures Verna that Allie will be one of the surgeons in the trial and forges Allie's signature in the consent. Later on, Victorine and Allie argued about the illegal experiments conducted in the family company and their relationship fallout. As she leaves, Victorine throws an object at her out of rage. Since then, Victorine starts to hear mechanical ticking sound, but she cannot find out the source. Later, Roderick visits Victorine. She continues to hear the mechanical ticking sounds, and so does Roderick. Victorine then remembers she hit Allie's head accidentally with the object thrown and killed her unintentionally. She put Allie in a room and implanted the heart mesh device on Allie's lifeless heart, yet she couldn't bring Allie back to life. Victorine sees Ali again, and in a fit of rage and disappointment, she stabs herself in front of her father. The fifth victim is Tamerlane, the eldest daughter and a bright entrepreneur. She is married to Bill, who is a fitness influencer. Tamerlane's a cuck queen fetishist. Bill always fulfills her desire with other women hired by her, including Verna. Tamerlane has been working several days without rest in between for the launch of their wellness package, Goldbug. She begins to have hallucinations from sleep deprivation. She believes Bill is cheating on her with Verna, and there's sights of Verna everywhere, from Bill's fitness video to the corridor outside their home. She confronts Bill, who insists he was completely unaware of her presence. Tamerlane and Billy have an altercation, causing Billy to walk out of their relationship. Later, at her brand launch, Tamerlane goes insane by hallucinations of Verna and a sex tape of her husband, and an escort. Madeline notices Verna and tries to grab her, but she vanishes right in front of her. After that, Tamerlane grows frightened and goes home. She sees Verna again in the mirrors and breaks them all. When she sees Verna in the mirror over her head, she breaks it and the shards of glass pierce her to death. The sixth victim is Frederick, the eldest son and heir to the family business. Before the death of Perry, Roderick actually asked Frederick to remove the old, abandoned Fortunato factories as the company hid the corrosive waste in the tanks there, which violates the federal regulation, but Frederick neglected at that time. After the orgy incident, Frederick is paranoid that his beloved wife, Morella, had been cheating on him. To vent his anger, he asks Leo for cocaine and gets addiction. Knowing his wife's condition is stable and is communicable in the hospital, Frederick insists on taking Morella home, even though the doctor disagrees with him. At home, Frederick is cruel to Morella. One day, Lenore, their daughter, discovers her mother in such a terrible circumstance. On the other hand, Roderick orders Frederick to demolish the old factories immediately, lest people would find out the issue of corrosive waste. At the demolition site, Frederick asks the employees to hold off until they get his command, and then he goes inside to urinate, showing anger for his deceased brother Perry. He paralyzes as Verna appears and explains that he took a paralyzing agent instead of cocaine earlier. Verna then takes the walkie-talkie and gives the order to demolish the building in Frederick's voice. She joins him on the floor and watches Frederick's death at the hands of a pendulum. With the mysterious deaths in the family, Madeline and Roderick ask their family's ruthless attorney and fixer, Pym, to find the culprit behind it. Verna's tape from when she was posing as the security staff is found. Later, he comes across paperwork featuring Verna's picture at Victorine's house. Verna's home address is listed in the papers. Pym discovers, however, that the house is Roderick's childhood home. Pym shows Roderick and Madeline a few pictures of Verna taken in the early 1990s, 80s, and even early 1910s. Roderick believes it is photoshopped, but Pym denies that. Madeline asks Roderick to remember what happened at the bar in 1980, but he refuses to recall the events. Back in 1979, Rufus, the succeeded CEO of Fortunato, and Roderick were in a meeting. Roderick promoted Ligadone, saying that this medicine had the potential to treat all age groups and all kinds of pain, from minor to severe pain. Rufus, however, declined Roderick's proposal. Afterwards, Madeline encouraged Roderick to aim higher and not be disappointed. However, Rufus stole Roderick's credit for Ligadone and introduced it into the company. Roderick was furious, and Rufus granted him a compensation. In the meantime, a young fraud investigator, August, found out that dead bodies belonging to people who were subject to Fortunato trials were being stolen. August found Roderick's forged signature on their consents, but Roderick claimed that he was unaware of them, and he couldn't risk losing his job. August still offered his business card to him. Madeline advised Roderick to get close to his boss in order to turn the tables on him. Madeline negotiated with Rufus in an effort to digitize the company's paperwork. Initially, he made a move on her, and when she let him down, he began to attack her verbally. Madeline told all this to Roderick, his first wife and only love, Annabelle, and August at home, and they began plotting to take Rufus down. But later in the court meeting, Roderick betrayed August in order to save the company and earn gratitude from Rufus. Roderick was arrested for perjury, but Madeline insisted that Fortunato would get him released in no time. Annabelle was deeply shocked and disappointed by Roderick's betrayal toward August and left him. On New Year's Eve in the company's party, Rufus promised Roderick a promotion after he saved the company at the court hearing and told him he had praised him highly in the committee board. Madeline handed Rufus a bottle of wine and seduced him into the basement. Drugged, Rufus passed out and the siblings buried him behind a wall. As such, Roderick could replace him on the board. In order to establish an alibi, they went to a tiny bar in a tiny neighborhood and had a chat with the bartender Verna there. Later, Verna offered them a deal. They would get everything they could dream of, wealth and power. But in exchange, their lineage would die right before them, and they will die together. The siblings thought it was just a nonsense, so they easily accepted the terms. As they walked out of the pub, they looked back and realized that there was no building. Madeline goes back to their old home. Verna is waiting for her inside. Madeline proposes a contract negotiation. However, Verna disagrees with it and disappears into thin air. Madeline has a conversation with Pim about how she would like to replace Roderick as CEO now that he is unwell and plans to transfer the company from working in the pharmaceutical industry to AI industry. In order to save herself and the company, she convinces Roderick to take Ligadone to overdose on in fulfillment of their agreement with Verna. After witnessing him taking lots of pills, she leaves. However, Verna arrives and wakes him up. In the present timeline, Roderick questions August about who the informant was. August admits that he lied about an informant in order to stir up trouble in the Usher household. Both of them notice some cracking and ripping sounds from somewhere in the house, but they kept ignoring it. Roderick reveals that his only granddaughter, Lenore, was also killed by Verna. Lenore is visited by Verna. She shares Lenore's mother's future, giving her comfort, and as a part of the deal, takes her innocent life peacefully. Roderick weeps for the loss of Lenore and walks into the meeting room where Verna confronts him, telling him to look outside where there are showering corpses to show him how many people he has killed with his drug. Those deaths, she says, are his legacy. She instructed him to give a confession to August. Before the confession, Roderick invites Madeline to have a drink together, and he poisons her. He gives her a proper Egyptian burial to give her a queenly send-off she deserves. August begins to question if Madeline was buried alive, and suddenly the room door is blown open. Resurrected Madeline rises from the grave to strangle Roderick. As the home is about to collapse, August bolts outside. After this, Juno becomes the rightful owner of the Fortunato, and she converted it into a drug rehab foundation. On the other hand, Pim is taken into custody and jailed. August pays final respects at the Usher family cemetery. At the end, Verna visits the graveyard and places objects of symbolic meaning on each of the Ushers' graves. What do you think about this show? Feel free to leave your comments and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, stay fabulous.